Hello, Michael. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come on for an interview. How are you?
Just another beautiful day in paradise out here.
Awesome.
Just glad to be here.
So, quite a unique situation here. Usually, I invite people because I see their wins in the Wins channel. But in your case, I saw you making some very insightful posts in the Amazon FBA channel, helping other students. And it seemed like you have a lot of experience. So, I would like to hear more about that throughout this interview. And to begin, what was your life like before joining the real world?
I'm actually about going to be turning 43 this year, so I'm about twice the age of the normal HU student members. Um, Got my first job when I was 14, so back in 1994, repairing like lasers and barcode scanners. Um, and then I went into the United States Navy literally on my 18th birthday. So I turned 18 at boot camp. Um, Went into the Navy's nuclear power program. So I was running and teaching about the nuclear power plants for submarines and aircraft carriers. Um, did did time on the East Coast, West Coast. Got to see lots of Europe throughout a bunch of deployments. As all young people do, eventually got married, started settling down. When we had my first son in 2010, and then about 3 months later, he passed due to what's called SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. Um, since then, we've had three little girls that just are the perfect thing for my life. Really, got out of the Navy. Oh goodness, about 8 years ago, and joined the normal workforce, but just didn't quite sit right with me. Um, Military, like you're in the military long enough, it kind of changes your views and your perception on the world and jobs and everything. So being in the normal workforce just didn't quite jive with my attitude and personality anymore. So I started looking into alternative methods of making money. One of those alternatives was actually using what's called the post 9/11 GI Bill to get free college. And the whole time I was going to college, I was actually getting paid to go there, which is at this point the only way that I recommend college. Because they paid for tuition, books, everything, and then paid me enough money to cover all my bills for my family. Um, after I got my bachelor's degree, I started doing Amazon FBA. So that was back in, oh goodness, 2020. I think it was like right before the pandemic hit that I started getting into that. Initially, I did what's called retail arbitrage, where you go into stores and find things that are like on clearance or that are very rare items and sell those for a profit. Um, but it takes a lot of time. So I wasn't very happy, like as a family man, spending 10, 12 hours a day shopping at the stores around town. So I switched from that to wholesale, which is my current business model for that. And I went from having to spend 10, 12 hours a day on my business to like maybe 30 minutes to an hour a day, which is just wonderful. Especially, I wound up getting divorced. So now I'm a single dad. I have my kids every other week. So because of that business model, I can spend all the time I want with my kids, and I just absolutely love that. When I was in the military and when I was getting started outside of the military, I didn't really get to see them and spend as much time with them. So for a single dad, like only having to work half an hour to an hour a day is just beautiful. My oldest right now is about to turn 12. And then my youngest is going to be turning 7 this year. So for my oldest two, I was still in the Navy when they were born, so they didn't see me as a lot, and I didn't see them a lot in that beginning stage when they're first developing their personalities. But then for my youngest, I've been a civilian the entire time, so I've gotten to spend a lot of time with her and actually be there for all those little moments that just make you happy to have experienced it. Like the first steps, the first running, the first time they fall off of a swing, like just about everything. Heard about Hustlers University. Oh goodness, I believe it was last summer. Um, at the time, I was in a bunch of different Amazon groups, but they weren't really like big. It was small groups and a bunch of them. So it was kind of wasting a lot of time bouncing between different things. And when I found out how many different methods that our campus teaches, I was like, oh, well, that's even better. And the total price was cheaper than what I was paying for all these other groups. So I quit the other groups and joined Hustlers University, which is now the real world. And I joined into the Amazon FBA campus so that I could basically just reach out, network, and learn from the Professor TJ on the private label side of Amazon. And eventually, just because, I mean, with the military and teaching, I've always been just apt for answering people's questions. So after he'd seen me answering so many questions throughout the campus, TJ offered to bring me on as a captain, which has been pretty interesting. I get to interact with almost every single Amazon FBA student. I think we're at about 42,000 right now. So I spend a lot of time now, actually, just in the chats, helping people out, making sure that they understand all the concepts that they need. And then when our chat's not really that moving or that active, I jump over to the HU main campus and help out people over there because they don't really get a lot of captains or professors in there in that general chat to answer their less specific questions on what to do, where to go, that kind of thing.